Hi everyone, it's me. I'm in my pajamas as usual. Haven't got any makeup on because I'm going to do a get ready with me and talk about my final update for this year's project pan. I did my last update in August. I think this is the third update in total. I'm just one of those people that, I don't do updates very often. I like to kind of allow myself some time before doing an update so I can use up some product, and I don't know, that's just how I've always done it. If you've watched the intro, highly do recommend that you do, but if you haven't, in this year's project pan I focused solely on cream liquid products because I realized after my first year that that's the kind of products I like. I have somewhat dry skin and it's starting to look a bit aged. I mean, I'm not that old, but I do have some concerns with, textured eyelids, some texture around my face. And so I just find that liquid and cream products work better for my skin. So that's why I focused on those kind of products in this year's project pan. The great thing about doing project pan is that you learn so much about your preferences, what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what works for your skin, things like that. And I have learned a lot as well doing this project pan this year. Before I get into what I've learned and how much I've used, let's put some makeup on. Sorry about the dead Ikebana in the background again. We haven't gone to the florist. We've had some really hot weather in Melbourne. It's been crazy. We've had days where it's been 43, followed by 19-degree weather. So it's kind of like, in Melbourne, I feel like you can never really quite put away the coats. It does get kind of wintry every now and again, even in summer. And I also don't know how many of you guys have noticed, because no one in my office noticed, that I've actually changed my hair color because I've gone back to work, and also I am a bridesmaid for 2 weddings next year, so I thought I want to look somewhat normal. I do love the orange hair. I loved the orange hair, and honestly I don't think that the brides would mind. I don't think that my friends would mind, but I think it's time to get back into brown. And if you looked at my channel 3 years ago, I'm pretty sure I had brown hair. So we've come back full circle. So I'm going to use my project pan products for this get ready with me / update on my project pan finale thing. I've got this Well People by Brightener. When I first had this and first started using this, I didn't like it. I thought as a highlight, it's too subtle. It's just too subtle. Maybe for people that really are into the no makeup look, which I would say I'm not quite there. I do like natural looking natural-ish, but I don't want it to look like I've got nothing on. This really looks very quite natural, so I don't think it's really, as a highlighter, works for me. But what I like to do with this product is kind of just put it all over my face, and what I feel like it does is it gives my base a bit of a glow, and I feel like this actually really mimics the Becca I think Opal highlighter, the one in the liquid format, and it also gives your face kind of that glow, and I feel like this really kind of achieves the same thing. I love that it's in stick format. I've actually come to realize this year that I love products in stick formats. I used to hate that. I used to think that is not my thing, but now I just find it so convenient. It just means I don't have to get my hands dirty. And so I just buff it in with a brush, the foundation brush I always use, which is the Morphe M439, and just buff it into the skin. And I feel like that gives a really nice glow to the skin. So that's how I've been using this product. A product that I would not, if I had not added this into my project pan, had just kind of discarded to the side and not used it because I couldn't think of a way that suited my skin when I use this. But I think as an all over kind of glow stick, this works really nicely. It just gives that luminosity to the skin. If my skin is looking particularly dry, or if it's particularly parched, I do go in with Strobe Cream, which again gives the skin a bit of luminosity. When I did my last update, I was here. I haven't marked it yet, but I will on the screen. I would say it's now kind of halfway through. So not too bad. It is a travel size. I will say I only started using this towards the later part of the year, so that's why there's not that much progress. But this is a product that was recommended to me by Alana, my friend Alana, and she loves this. I would say I do like the effect that it gives on my skin, but I don't really like the smell. I would say I prefer this. This is unscented, and I think that they kind of do a similar thing. This is just kind of like a thicker consistency. It feels more like a moisturizer. I will also be rolling this into my new project pan for 2020. Feels weird saying that, 2020. Some products I will be rolling in to my new project pan, some I won't. So I will let you know which ones I do and which ones I don't. I've also been using, this is not part of my project pan, but I really do enjoy this. This is like a color corrector from Armani, and I just have really dark So, I mean, I've always had darkness under my eyes, but I feel like today it's pretty bad. So how are your project bans been going this year? If you've been doing one, have you made much progress? So yeah, it is Boxing Day today, the day after Christmas, and it's still Christmas in some parts of the world, but how is yours? Do you have any traditions in your family? Do you celebrate, or do you kind of just enjoy your public holiday? My family, every year we would go to a family friend's house and celebrate Christmas. She would always do something at her house on Christmas Eve because it's a European thing. We would be expected to play piano and do a concert, which kind of, as a kid, it's fine. But then as you get older and you're like in your 20s, you're kind of like, I don't really feel like being a performing monkey anymore. So we have now got our own tradition where my mum does Christmas Eve dinner or lunch, and then the next day we go to my in-laws. But pretty much growing up, we never really did anything on Christmas because my family is not religious, so we would never really do anything on Christmas Day itself. So Christmas Day always felt like a really lazy day. But ever since meeting Tom, we've always celebrated at his parents' house, which is lovely because his mum is a wonderful cook, and she whips up an amazing meal every time. And his sister does this awesome pavlova, which you might have seen on my Instagram. I really love pavlova. It's the only time of the year I eat pavlova. But anyway, we had a pretty good day. We do this thing where we just give gifts to the kids. It was really fun watching Joey open his present because he was just so excited, even when he saw other people opening their presents. Okay, so I'm gonna use this foundation, which is the Suqqu Cushion Foundation. It's really hard to kind of tell how much progress I've made. I feel like I'm getting very little product from it now though. When I put my brush in and then put it on my face, I feel like you can definitely see that there's product there, but it's not as wet as it was when I first started using it. So I feel like it is starting to dry up a little. Look, I feel like it's grown on me a little. The color's not quite right. I can make it work, but I don't find it. I think I bought this off Beautylish for about $60 or something like that. I wouldn't repurchase this. I don't really like cushion foundations. This is the first cushion foundation I ever used, so I haven't really been exposed to much, but based on this, I kind of don't like it. I also don't like it because I feel like the brush absorbs a lot of product, but not necessarily all of it goes on the face. So I feel like there's a bit of wastage there. And look, it's not the most hygienic thing. So I wouldn't want to be using this for longer than, you know, probably 6 months. I did only start using this again in the later part of the year, which is why I feel like if I started at the start, I would have finished this by now, but I haven't. So that is why it's still going. And I do also have the refill, but I did give that refill, now that I'm remembering, to my sister. So I'm just gonna say that this is pretty much done. I feel like this is almost drying up, and I wouldn't be bringing this into the new year, but I would say I'm really nearly there to finishing this product off. Let me know, do you like cushion foundations? And if you do, what's the best one that you've tried? As you can see, I don't use the actual cushion that it came with because I don't like it. I tried using it and I don't feel like you get the best application with it. I know some people do like it, but I'm just a brush person. I use sponges every now and again, but I'm definitely more of a brush person. I just feel like you can get more precision, you can get the coverage that you want. It's quicker as well. So that's the coverage. It's pretty, I would say it's medium coverage. It's kind of hard to show you the progress on the screen because you can't see it. Yes, I could have maybe weighed it. Maybe going forward into next year's project pan, I'll focus on products where you can visibly see the progress because I think that's easier. Like, it's just easier for me and for you. Before I move on to other products on my face, let's talk about some other primers and foundations that were in this year's project pan. I had the Aqua Primer from Rouge by Rouge. I finished it up. This was actually really surprisingly easy to finish up. In July, my last update, I pretty much had almost the full, I almost had the full bottle left, and now it's all gone. Obviously I've got bits left on the side. I probably could scrape it out if I really wanted to, but it's fine. I'm gonna wash it and I'm gonna put it in the TerraCycle recycling box. Would I repurchase this? Probably not. The scent is very, very strong. It felt more like a moisturizer to me, quite lightweight. So if you like that kind of thing, then it's nice, but I wasn't in love with it. One that I almost forgot about, but then I found it again. This is the Kiko Milano Skin Trainer CC Blur. I have used it in my project pan probably maybe 5 times in total, so I really haven't made much of a dent, but this is a silicone primer, and I've realized that I don't like these primers. They might have some skin smoothing benefits, but it's not enough to really make myself use it, and I don't actually like the feel of these. Obviously, if you felt a silicone primer before, I'm sure a lot of you have, you'll know what I'm talking about, but I just, in terms of the touch and the feel of it, I don't like that. Can't explain why. It just doesn't feel like something that I should put on my face. Going to declutter this one. What other primers do we have? Okay, so the Lumi Magique Pure Light Primer, finished that one up already in my last update. Another product I finished is the concealers in this 3 palette. This is what it looks like now. It looks a little bit messy. Joey stuck his fingers in it. So I did actually use these to myself up, and then these ones I didn't touch. I wasn't really planning on using them, but now I definitely won't use them. I really liked these concealers. I would consider repurchasing, like if they sold them in like a single or something, because I don't use the powders. It was just so easy to use, just like could use with my fingers, didn't have to use a brush or anything. I really enjoy 3 base products, not so much their eyeshadows. I did like this a lot, so really enjoyed this, and I'm so glad that I finally finished it, because I purchased this a long time ago, probably like 2014. So yeah. Then we had this Suqqu foundation. At my last update I was here, and now I've finished it up. So happy. This is another product that grew on me. The more I used it, the more I kind of enjoyed it. But when I first used it, I was like, I don't see the hype with this. Everyone's saying that they love it. But it's a really nice kind of light to medium foundation. It sits nicely on the skin. I would say it's comparable to the Pat McGrath foundation, but this one is a lot cheaper. This one I believe is around 70 Australian dollars. The Pat McGrath one is 120, 100 over dollars. But the only negative thing about this is that the shade range is pretty limited because it is a Japanese brand. Obviously, Suqqu is not a brand that you can really go into store and swatch. So that again, it is hard to get your match online. But I was in the shade 202. I think this is a pretty good match for me. Would I repurchase? No, simply because I've got quite a few other foundations that I purchased this year that I've got to go through. But I did actually end up enjoying this foundation. It's not a holy grail, but I think it's a really nice, decent foundation. The dropper was a bit not my favorite again. So yeah, there are definitely positives and negatives with the product, but in the end of the day, I did actually enjoy using it. I've got 2 more foundations to talk about. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. Man, this is a very difficult foundation to use up. It is really thick, and I feel like you really don't need much at all. So I really feel like I've not made any progress with this. Okay, I've probably used it, I would say, at least 10 times. The weird thing about this foundation is it looks darker on my hand and in the tube, but then when you put it on the face, it actually is lighter, and it actually does look like a pretty decent match for me. Is it my favorite foundation? No. I will attempt to use it up, but I don't feel like I look my absolute best when I use this foundation, so I don't reach for it a whole ton. So really very minimal progress on that. And then we've got the MAC Face and Body, which is in the shade Light Pearl. This shade is kind of my summer shade. I probably have not used it very much since my last update. But yeah, I do like MAC Face and Body. I feel like there definitely is a place for it in my life for days where I really want not much makeup on my face, but I want some coverage. I want some coverage of my redness. You know, there is a place, but it's not a foundation that I wear, you know, to go to work or things like that. So it's not one I've reached for a lot. And because the shade is a bit deep for me, I can really only make it work in summer or paired with a lighter concealer. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm gonna be finishing this up anytime soon, and I think I'm okay with that. I'm so bad with talking and putting makeup on. It takes a lot of concentration for me anyway. I'm not actually fantastic at multitasking. But let's talk about highlighters. I was quite ambitious. I had quite a lot of highlighters in this project pan, and you know, you don't actually use that much highlighter when you're using highlight. It's a very small portion of the face. So yes, it was very very ambitious. So I had this one, which is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Soft Light. At first I thought it was similar to this, but this is much better than this. I would say this is done. I probably could have finished this off a lot earlier, but I always forget to use it. It's one of those products that I feel like is an unnecessary layer onto my face, but I'm using it because of Project Pan. I'm not sure if any of you can relate. I'm sure maybe if you do Project Pan, maybe you can relate But yeah, it's one of those ones I forgot about because it didn't make a significant difference to my makeup. So finally use this, would not repurchase it. If you want a really nice kind of glowy highlight, this one. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. I have the Sea of Illumination liquid highlight. I am down to here, so I would say halfway through the bottle. I don't mind this. I think that it does give a nice highlight to the skin, but I feel like it's not as seamless as I like. It's quite cool toned on me. It's very white and icy. Not my absolute favorite for highlight, which is probably why I haven't used it so much. This is kind of what it looks like on me. It's, like I said, icy and not my favorite. I can make it work, but if I went through this, would I repurchase it? No, I wouldn't. But I've made a decent dip in it, which I'm happy about. I'm thinking I will actually try and add this, roll this over into the new project pan, because it's just very, I feel like it's quite, like it's not that much to go through. Ones that I didn't do so well on are these ones from Iconic London, and I can't even find the other one. I've got actually 3. Pretty sure I haven't used them since my last update. I think adding 3 in my project pan was too much of a stretch, because realistically with highlighters, you've got ones like these that can be used all over the face and therefore used really quickly, versus these ones where either you mix them with foundations or you just use them like this one where you add the tiniest bit on your face. When used like that, I think honestly one of these would take a full year. You really just don't need very much. So I think if I was to roll one of these into my project pan, I would just do one and not all 3. Did I have any other highlights? Oh yes, I did. Okay, so I would consider this a highlight. This is the Matchsticks in Trippin. Look how much I've had left. That's pretty good. Let's just talk about the Matchsticks, a product that I have come to really, really love this year. I have 3 shades. I've got Mocha, which is the bronzing shade, and I've got Bamboo, which I've been using as concealer. This comes with a lot of product. When you roll it up, you get about this much, I would say, because this is the one I've used the least. But then when you start digging down into it, which is what I did for Mocha, there's a lot more in there. So because I've been enjoying Mocha so much, I would repurchase this if I didn't have already more bronzers to go through. You actually get so much product. And this lasted me almost a year. So really, really happy with my progress on this. Again, it's one of those things that I feel like if I hadn't included in my project pan, I honestly would not have probably touched it. So this is kind of how I use it. I use it this kind of like a blush topper kind of thing. It does have some shimmer to it, but I like to kind of just add a stripe there, and some on the nose as well I like. And I don't mind Trippin, but if I would repurchase one of these, it would be the Mocha Matchsticks. Then this one in Bamboo, I haven't used a lot of because again, I've been concentrating on other base products, but I've been using it in areas where I get redness. So here, and it's fine. If I could really concentrate on using this, I think I might finish this next year. But yeah, let's blend some of this out first. And so yeah, I think using these stick products have made me realize I actually enjoy makeup in a stick format, which I never thought I would say. I used to be one of those people that really didn't like it. I used to use a lot of stick products back when I really first started to get into makeup. Like I remember using one of the first higher end foundations I ever started using was the Shuamura Nobara stick, which I really enjoyed. But ever since then, I don't think I really ever touched makeup in stick format until this year, and I really like it. It's so convenient, it's less messy, easy to store, and so I like it. I actually really enjoy it. I think that's all the highlighters, primers, and foundations / concealers there was in my project pan. So lastly, we have my cream blushes. I remember someone in the comments in my intro who was saying that my project pan was too ambitious, and maybe it was, I don't know. But I am glad that I tried to tackle it, because honestly, again, it's the products that I probably wouldn't have touched had they not been in my project pan and not realized that I enjoy these. You've seen Trippin. Trippin's probably one that I will finish next year. And then I had 3 others. This one is one that I've used up. This is the 3 Epic Dash in State of Grace. I found this too light for me, but I did find a way to make it work and I finished it up. I'm so happy about that. I do like 3 blushes. I think they're really lovely if you get to the right shade, which I think this really wasn't. But they're really nice, easy to use. I guess the sad thing is there's always going to be a little bit of product that you can't quite reach, you can't quite get out. But I would say this is very good effort. I would consider this done. The usable part is done. Would I purchase some again if I was in Japan? Maybe. Actually, probably not realistically because I've got these two. The Suqqu one is one that I've made quite a bit of a dent in compared to the last update. This is the Juicy Bright Cream Blush in 101. This is how much I've used. You can see there is a massive, massive dip. Not quite done, not quite hit pan. If I pressed my finger harder, but I'm not going to. I probably could. You need so little that it's very hard. It was very hard to make progress on this, but I think I've done pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a really nice product. The packaging, would prefer this in a stick format, to be honest. I think stick over doe foot and jar, much easier to use, but it's a nice blush. Blendable. I think Suqqu make great kind of cream products. Lastly, I think this is the last product in my project pan. This is the cream paint. This is one of those cream blushes that will last you for 5 years. Firstly, the consistency is super thick and you need, again, a tiny bit. So dot, dot. In fact, that was probably too much. And you can just see that it does actually give you a really nice blush with only using a minimal amount. Though that probably wasn't the best example because I had cream blush on there already. But it's really nice. Very nice flush to the face. Very nice flush to the face with minimal effort. Maybe you cannot be in here.
I'm trying to do something.
Like what? So yeah, sadly I feel like I've made no progress on this. Look, it's good value. Very, very good value. If you're ever wanting to buy a cream blush that's going to last you 5 years, this would be it. If you're buying it with the intention of using it for a project pan, no. Stay away from this. So that was my project pan finale. Yay! How many products did I use? I'm gonna put here. I think I did pretty well. I don't know how it compared to last year, but I did enjoy it because there actually were, for the majority, products I actually used and enjoyed using. Like, it didn't feel like so much of an effort to use them. And I've realized another thing about my preference is that I like things in stick format.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be buying lots of sticks now. Lots. Like, if I can choose between a product that comes in a doe foot, a jar, and a stick, it's always gonna be stick, you know? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you had a very successful year with your project pan, and even if you didn't, you know, I hope you learned a lot from it. Next year, I think I'm gonna do another project pan. I really enjoy this process. I feel like it definitely does make me use my makeup and make me rethink how I use my makeup, as well as experiment with ways to make things work for me. And if it does not work at all, then only then will I declutter it or sadly throw it away. I think project pans are really great to do. If you've never tried one, I really encourage you to do it because it just makes you use your makeup and rethink how you're using it, and it is a fun learning process. Sometimes it's frustrating, yes, but for the most part, I've really enjoyed it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and Happy New Year to everyone, and I will see you in the new year.